republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. This is a special meeting to deal with personnel changes, and therefore the first item of business, there will be no public comments or board comments tonight. This is a very brief, whoops, sorry. Can you all hear me without the mic? But we do want to have it for the recording for people watching at home. Thank you. All right. Yes, Mr. Lumia.
Just a quick comment. I know it's no board comment, but I see Mr. Bittaker, I think it is. Mr. Bittaker, I would love you to take my seat for the next 2 years. It's an offer I'm making to you.
One that I can refuse.
Well, thank you for coming back, Mr. Bittaker. It's always a pleasure seeing you. I'm sorry for interrupting everybody else. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Welcome, Mr. Bittaker, and we're delighted to have you here with us. Thank you. All right, because there is going to be just dealing with personnel matters that came up over the summer, there will be no comments by the board or public comments. That will be at the August 3rd meeting. All right, I hope you all notice that the next meeting will be August 3rd. Thank you. All right, first of all, we go to the consent agenda. And before we do that, Mr. Carrione would like to speak to us.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Education. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate our former director of Special Education and Student Services, Mr. Joseph Simone. He will be moving on to another district. I know you're not going to believe this, but when Joe was in junior high school, I was his teacher. It's a joke we still have going, but overall, I wish you all the success in the world, and know that if you have any questions, anything that you need, that you have a family here at Waukee Central School District.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for 3 years of wonderful service. We appreciate it. Thank you. We're only sorry we're losing you. But as you will see with the consent, when we get to the consent agenda, we have good people coming on board also. All right. Mrs. Hardiman.
Resolved that the Board of Education approve the following consent agenda items.
You forgot to ask if anyone wants to.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Is there, my fault? I'm learning the job. All right. Does anyone have something to pull from the consent agenda that they would like to have discussed? Okay, Mrs. Laval?
4 point.
Microphone.
4.03, number 6.
Anything else? Okay.
Resolved that the Board of Education approve the following consent agenda items. 4.02, 4.03, except number 6, 4.04, and 4.05.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second? Mr. Lumia? Okay. This is all those in favor of the consent agenda? As, huh?
As stated.
On stage.
Okay. 6. Okay, thank you. Now, Mrs. Laval, 4.03, number 6.
4.03, number 6. Effective 7/16/15, abolish the position of Director of Technology and establish a 1.0 Coordinator of Instructional Technology Data Assessments and Library Media Services.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Mr. Selma? All right. Discussion. Mrs. Laval?
would like, I guess, some more details on why this position. It seems that the race to the top positions and the reform agenda have significant requirements in data collection, assessments, instruction via technology. From what and I'm assuming that that's what's, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's what this position is, expanding a lot of the technology and the student interaction on technology and the data that's being collected. And I think the mandate from Race to the Top, the data collection mandate and the technology use in assessments as well as in instruction is significant, tremendously impactful on the teaching and education culture. It's significant with regard to the community, and I think it's something that if that's what we're talking about here and that's what this position is oriented to, that really it warrants a lot more attention and discussion with regard to the impact that it will have in the classroom, the impact that it will have on the community, again, with data collection, and the level of autonomy in the classroom. Teachers, if our students are going to start learning through technology-driven sources.
Wow. I'll also have our Assistant Superintendent for Compliance and Information Systems speak as well. Before I give them an opportunity to speak, some of the items that you brought up are some of the items that we have to do and we're obligated to do already, which takes away from what teachers and principals don't have to focus on, because now we have this person who can actually take care of much of the collection of data, collection of reporting to the state education department, things that we're responsible to do. However, in addition to that, our director of technology had assumed many of these positions, which is our assistant superintendent, Darren Lokima. With that said, we don't need another director of technology, and what we're really trying to do is focus in on the instructional aspect as well as the managerial aspect of the entire technology department with this position. This position will not expand on creating much more technology. One of the things that I can tell you philosophically that I'm opposed to is having students, and anyone can tell you that, walk into a computer lab and seeing them working on software. Whether it's a reading assistance program or a math assistance program, it does make my blood boil sometimes, to the degree where I believe that our students can be doing much more than that. I will let Darren expand on the conversation of the coordinator of technology as opposed to a director of technology.
Thanks. So, when I first started here 4.5 years ago, we had a coordinator of technology and library media services underneath what was essentially going to be the director of technology position that I took over. And it was planned that that position would go away, and that I would assume as the director of technology the roles that that coordinator provided, with the exception of library services. And so in the 6 months after starting, they did take that position and removed it. And the amount of responsibilities that come with it were in addition to the everyday managerial stuff Mr. Perrion was talking about, far exceed the amount of time someone can do as my new role as the assistant superintendent for curriculum information systems. So really what we're talking about is it's coming down, I still get to have a hand in the technology department, which helps with some of the heavy lifting for the infrastructure stuff. So it makes a lot of sense to reduce the director position to a coordinator position, but allow them to come in and perhaps have, although we haven't really talked about the responsibilities for, say, for the library side, but help out the courts who have also had a department that has been consolidated to the point where they're going around crazy. They go crazy, with all the work that they have doing, helping them by taking library media services out of that and putting it into this title as a supervisory role, which is really great because now you have a technology department who will be further embedded into the instructional side and the library media services side, where there's a lot of overlay of great work that can be done, and as long as everyone's in the loop and working together on it. And so it's really going to actually help the technology department become more involved in the curriculum side of things and continue, which is a path that really Janet helped set us on in more recent years, and just really continue to do that and really collaborate more. The data side, there's always data. We just put the data in the title because it's relevant and it's real and it's not going away. Like I've been the CIO of the organization, the Chief Information Officer. People come to us for data all the time, and it's not just the stuff we give to the state. It's for reports for everyday use. It's data between systems. How our student information system ties into our bus system, so that way we know where all the students live and where all the bus routes have to go, where all those kids go into the food services department, and who needs free and reduced lunch and all that. It's that interoperability stuff that encompasses the data side as well, and customized reports and pulling data from these different systems to help provide information to drive decisions that that the cabinet level makes, buildings make, the boards make, and all that stuff. So data is always there, and it certainly seems fitting to formalize it in the title.
The title also includes assessments.
Assessments is always there. Okay, so I don't know how. Assessments always are there. So we're known as two different things: TSS, Technology Support Services, and we're the Department of Technology Testing and Assessments. Actually, they mentioned assessments twice: testing and assessments. It was a name placard on the door when I got here 4.5 years ago. It's been there for 12 years before that. It's just we order the Regents exams. We help deal with the out-of-district kids needing the Regents assessments. There's a lot of materials involved with the state assessments, not just the ones that are the hot button topic assessments, but like the ones that we need to graduate. That assessment piece, again, has always been here, and we've been the ones who helped coordinate the scoring process, the recording of the grades into the student information system, and ultimately, yes, the grades get reported from the data perspective, in a sense, back up to the state. But the assessment piece isn't new either.
Is that true in terms of how the students are taking the assessments? Are we heading in a direction where the students are going to be assessed online? My understanding is that is a condition of Race to the Top, and I assume new ES or ECAA, whatever the new name is. And so are we expanding that, and is that part of what this position is?
No, this position is not part of that. In terms of whatever comes out of that would come out of the superintendent's office and the senior cabinet level. This position will carry forward what needs to be carried forward. Right now, let's talk about the Regents exams that we have in play. Let's talk about the New York State grades 3 to 8 assessments, as well as local assessments, as Mr. Olkema was indicating. But overall, if we're talking about, I don't think we're looking at park assessments, or we're looking at any type of assessments that may be coming down from the federal government or from the state education department. This job basically has been in existence, and in order for the district to continue to move forward, it continues to be the same job, with also sharing some other responsibilities, which in many districts you will see technology and media merging together. And right now our coordinator for English Language Arts is also the coordinator for social studies, for library, for ESL, which is a lot of staff and a lot of people to conduct observations for.
So the library will then be moved into this new position?
Yes, and Joe's still here, so that's a good thing. But part of that is that assignments sometimes have been redistributed throughout the years in terms of when you look at how many staff members you may have in a certain department. It's not basically, it doesn't seek the approval of the Board of Education, from my understanding. It's just basically redistributing the assignments because they all fall under the same tenure area.
And if I might just say, it's a necessary position. It has nothing to do with race to the top.
That would have been a real quick answer.
No, I think we all appreciate having more detail on it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll move the question.
Mr. Logan?
Ready to vote?
All right. Any other question? Mr. Rodriguez? Okay. All those in favor? 5. Opposed? Abstain? 1 abstention.
Just quickly, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new staff members for the Long Beach Central School District. I'd like to begin with our coordinator for fine and performing arts as well as for foreign language. And I just want to make sure that I say her name correctly, Dr. Lori Forestano James.
Forestano, but not doctor.
Okay. Mrs.
Yes, not doctor.
Okay, we got it right.
Close. Close, but I'm not there yet.
Soon to be. Okay. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to introduce our Director for Special Education and Student Services, Mr. Richard Zitt. And lastly, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Michelle Cardwell.
Yes, we have a motion for could we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Rubin, and second, Mr. Selma. All those in favor?